Hello, career thought leaders. It's good to see you today. And we are going to be talking about how to help clients when networking is not working. So I don't know about you all, but I've been talking with clients who are saying, I'm reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I'm trying to do this and I'm not getting any responses, or I'm having conversations, but it's not leading to a job. And we hear it all, right? So we're going to talk today about how you can help them, one, make networking more effective, because talking to these clients, I know there are things they could do a little bit differently that may have better results. And two, that we need a mindset shift in terms of how job search works, how networking works, and how it all kind of fits together. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're joining us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so that you get notified when we go live. If you're joining us on LinkedIn, which I know a lot of you are, that's excellent. You can hit the follow button there as well. So we're excited to see you today, and I'd love to hear in the chat some of the questions or challenges that you see from your job seekers related to networking, or some of the tips that you share with them as we go through, because I know that you all have been working with your clients on this topic for decades, maybe, right? And how do we help them shift? So just to give a little bit of context, the job seekers that I've been working for the most part, executives. They are clients to one of our colleagues who does coaching, and she connects them with me specifically to do LinkedIn coaching. Why? Because in our digital branding strategist class since 2018, we've been teaching search and connection strategies that I find very few people in this industry are teaching, and no clients are doing. So how can we help them understand the power of LinkedIn way beyond just their profile, right? Profile is just level one. Optimizing it is great, but everybody can do that. So how do you really stand out, be memorable, get seen, not just be found, but get seen and form those connections? That's what I help people do. In the context of those conversations, this is where I'm hearing this. I'm trying, I'm doing it, and nothing is happening. The first issue that I see is a lot of times the networking is very transactional. Do you have a job for me or not? Yes or no, it's over. One, that's not really networking. And two, it makes everybody feel bad. So the thing that our clients are doing when they take that approach is they are burning bridges as they go, because they're asking for help. The person is not able to help them, and everybody sheepishly resigns back into their darkness and doesn't come back for another conversation. So that is the challenge that we want to avoid, whether we're reaching out cold or warm, which we're going to talk a little bit about both today. But really, no matter how we're reaching out, when we make it singular focused, it's over. It's done. Now, the problem that rethinking all of that solves is that when we don't think of it as a conversation about a job, it actually is less scary to the person doing it. Anthony, yes, right? I don't think your students are alone in being afraid of these types of conversations. And I think most of the time we're afraid because we have this idea that we're going to be asking them for a job and they're going to say no, or we don't know at all what to say. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And so we put too much pressure on the conversation. Now that brings up the other challenge, is that when you need a job fast, it is very tempting to get right to the point. And there is some instances, and we're always going to be directive. We're always going to be clear about our purpose. But again, asking for a job and hearing a no isn't getting you anywhere. We're not doing anything with that conversation except burning a bridge. So what can we do differently? How can we think about it differently? And that also solves part of this problem of the fear. So let's reframe this. Yes, we're learning we're meeting people, whatever words you and your clients want to use. I always think it's interesting to ask the questions, how do you build relationships, or how do you expand your circle? Maybe avoiding that word network for a while to see what other language my client brings up so that I'm not necessarily having to, try and do it myself. But relationships, industry knowledge, company knowledge, um, I always have a target list, right? We always have a target list. And so part of what we're getting when we're networking is learning about the companies that are already on there, new companies that we might add, and other people we might meet that could help us learn more about these companies. So it's that focus of learning, of engaging, of having conversations, which I do understand scares people. But what's the alternative, right? What is the alternative that you sit at home, you apply for jobs, and you never hear anything back? So this is old data. It comes from a job search book by the founder of Lee Hecht Harrison, Orville Pearson. But I remember when I first started doing this that I looked for the data, right? Where is this data coming from that 60% of jobs come from networking and all those things? Most of that came from a Harvard article a long time ago that was a self-report from people. How did they find their job? And it was in that 70% of range of people said they found their job through networking. We misquote that often when we say that 70% of jobs aren't listed. That data never came from anywhere. That is fictional data. Most of the time when people quote that data, they actually don't point back to a source, or they point to a source that points to a source that points to a source that never goes anywhere. Or they point back to that Harvard article, which it was from the 80s. And again, never said that those positions weren't posted. It simply said that that was how people found their job, was through networking. How many positions are posted or not, I don't know that really matters. And it's going to depend a lot on level, industry, company size, all of those things. So if most people get their jobs through networking, and we've got good, clear data from recruiters and hiring managers saying that 40% of hires are referrals, 80% of hiring teams prefer referrals. So we know that data. That's real. How do we help our clients become the candidate that someone else knows, become the candidate that someone else refers in? The challenge for this, especially for people who are unemployed, is that it is not a direct line. It is not you meet someone and they give you a job kind of thing. It just doesn't happen that way, which is why they want to keep the other plates of their job search spinning. They want to be applying online to positions that they're a good fit for. It's silly not to, right? They want to be doing those things. They want to be doing some cold outreach. And we'll talk about how that looks. Then they want to be doing some warm outreach to people they already know, like, and trust, who could maybe make some introductions to people that they don't already know, like, and trust. So here's the two-pronged thing. I recommend starting with warm network. There are some people that don't want to do that. However, for most of our clients, that's going to be the most comfortable. So what does that look like? That looks like going to LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or wherever your clients are active. And again, we challenge ourselves to not think about it in just LinkedIn language. It's actually an article that we put in our last newsletter that showed immense amount of people getting jobs on other platforms. So we're going to open our minds. We're going to say, okay, it's not just about LinkedIn, but wherever your network is, obviously in person, but these online tools give us an opportunity to see a list, to search it, to scroll it, to think. That's what we're using them for. So I can go to my list of connections, list of stuff on Facebook, whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, who might be in the realm of the jobs that I'm looking for, who might have worked somewhere that I want to work, who's worked somewhere that I want to work, who still works there, who's married to someone that works there, right? That's what I'm thinking about. and I'm reaching out to them. And here's the first place that most people fail is they reach out to them and they say, hey, I'm looking for a job. And the person is like, well, great. I want to help you, right? I know, like, and trust you. You're my people. How do I help? Give them your target list. These are the types of organizations that I'm searching for. Do you know anyone there that you would introduce me to? These are the people you already know, like, and trust. So that should be a question you could ask. Is there any companies on here that you know anything about that could help my search? Are there any companies that you think are missing that I could add? 3 ways that they could help you so they feel successful and they can have a great conversation with you. So number one way that my job seekers get their job search going faster is they reach out to the people that already know, like, and trust them, and they give them 3 ways to help them. Here's my target list. Who do you know? Are there companies you should add? Any companies on here that you know about that you can help me, get some more information. At the very least, you get a few more companies to think about. And you always just say thank you, right? Even if you've already thought about it, even if it's not a good fit, whatever, you just say thank you. Thank you for that. I'll add that to my list. And then you might send a note later saying, here's what I'm really looking for. These are my top companies and here's why, so they can keep that in mind. Then instead of just looking for job ads and sending them to you, now they've got a broader idea and they know how they can help you is introductions, information, new companies. It works. It just does. Now, if you want to use LinkedIn in this process of warming the connections up, that's where the commenting comes in. I see a lot of things, about what you should post on LinkedIn, but when you're talking about job search specifically, posting is a big term strategy. Like, posting is a branding strategy, which obviously we teach in the certified digital branding class, but it's not as much of a near-term job search, let's get this tomorrow kind of thing. So commenting is. Why? Because commenting builds relationship. I like to think, you all know, I'm a little introverted, right? And that hinders my online piece because I think, what will you say? And am I butting in? So I like to think if I was at a networking event and I was standing in a circle and one of the people in the circle said whatever their post says, how would I respond? Now, we are all intelligent people. Your clients are intelligent people. They would have something to say. If they wouldn't, they'd probably nod their head and walk away. That's fine. That means it's not a post for you to comment on. But if you do think, hey, there's something I would say if that person said that in person, why? Because it also keeps us from doing things that are against our brand. If we think about what would I say in person, I'm less likely to be mean, rude, overly confrontational, all of those things. So I think about what would I say in person and said that. And that becomes my comment, right? You comment, you build relationship, you build connection, and then you can reach out in the messaging and continue the conversation with the same approach. Hey, these are the companies that I'm looking at. Shorten that target list for someone that's more new. These are the types of companies I'm looking at. I'd love your thoughts on any of these companies I might add to my list, or anyone that you think I should follow or engage with, or maybe meet that who works at these companies. You give them multiple ways to help you. It's not about a job. And they're more likely to actually say yes to a conversation with you because it's obvious right off the bat that it's not about a job. It's not a pitch. It's not, hey, will you take my resume to HR? You are giving them specific ways that they can help you. So Jane, I can see you. Hello. Yep. If you want to share your thoughts, share a networking idea, please do. I can see the LinkedIn messages today, which is great. So that's our goal. Warm it up in the comments and then connect. Now, I was giving a LinkedIn example because I know we all love LinkedIn, but you can do that in Facebook groups. You can do it on TikTok. You can do it in Instagram, although some of those platforms are a little bit different in terms of how you engage, but your clients will know that if they're using those platforms. So it can be our opportunity to warm it up so that then you can reach out and have a conversation. And is kind of fun. I've got a sheet of conversation starters scripts for you. I decided to do a little bit of something new, so we'll see what you all think. But I've got a toolkit that you can get. It's 9 pages worth of scripts. And today it's $7. So I've had people say, Marie, how can we support you? Do you have the tips on LinkedIn or tips on YouTube turned on? And I just decided that instead of doing that, I would create some of these little tiny resources that you can get by getting the resource and supporting the work that we're doing that way. So I'll drop that in the chat if you're interested in getting those 9 pages worth of outreach scripts, as well as a connections questions sheet that we use in our hidden job market class that gives you the opportunity to think about what are you going to ask when it comes to industry, company, those types of trends. So that's a little bonus there if you're interested in that. I dropped that link in Facebook and on YouTube. For some reason, it doesn't work in LinkedIn, but I will go back and get it in there as well. So helping our clients think through how will they approach the situation is great. Having a script for that helps them think through. We're not going to copy and paste the script necessarily. It's just a starter. And that's why these are all going to be delivered to you in Microsoft Word so that you can change them and adjust them the way you think you want to, and you can put your branding on them. But that warmness of the conversation, to me, it improves your response rate. And you can still be strategic because you're going to be warming up the conversations that matter. You're going to respond to and engage with the people that matter. We have a whole video on how to find those people on LinkedIn, how to use the LinkedIn search stuff to get there. So I'll drop that in the resources as well. We can find on LinkedIn the people that are in the companies we want to work in who are already posting on LinkedIn so that we can comment and engage and warm it up. So we start with the people who already know, like, and trust us. We reach out. We do all of that. Maybe that goes dry, right? Maybe there's not too many introductions there. Although most people really underestimate. They say that we know 200 people, each of us. I find that overwhelming. Maybe some of you do as well. Maybe some of you, like Anthony, are like, I know 1 million people, which Anthony probably does because he's brilliant. But that we underestimate that piece, who already knows, likes, and trusts us. Now, I know some people will be like, oh, Marie, you can network at the grocery store. You are an extrovert friend and you go. People that are more introverted probably have no interest in networking at the grocery store. And it is pretty low ROI. So I'm a more strategic person. It's one of my strengths. It's how I network, right? Strengths-based networking. So I like to go where conversations are happening that I want to be part of. Industry events, things that have a purpose that make it easier for me to connect and know what to say and have that conversation. We've got to help our client find their style so that they can network in their way. And we always want to promote networking as a menu. Here's all the different ways you can network. You can reach out to your inner circle. You can go onto LinkedIn and do this warm it up in the comments piece. You can go to events online or virtual or in person, right? You can go do it at your church or the things you do on a daily basis. But realize that some people don't want to do some of those things. And so if we present it as a menu, we let them choose, we let them lead, we let them do it in their way that works the best for them. It's still going to be uncomfortable, but it can be less uncomfortable. It can be less intimidating than us feeling like there's one way, right? When I was first starting out, it was like, oh, events, right? If you want to network, you have to go to the chamber. And oh my gosh, no, right? One, it's low ROI. If you're going to meet someone there that's going to magically be in one of your target companies. And two, it's just not a good fit for me. That's just one way. There are a lot of other ways to network, and we can help our clients find it. That's what we want to provide, is that menu. Dormant connections are underutilized. Yeah, right. So we could reach back out to someone that we've worked with before. We could reach back out to even friends or family that we haven't talked to in a little bit. There's just plenty of opportunities to make those connections. Now, cold networking is great. And some people are extroverted people, or sometimes our executives or salespeople who are used to it, they might want to start with that cold networking. There's nothing wrong with that. It's direct, right? I'm going to reach out to someone that works at the company. I think there's a little bit of falsehood going around online that that's faster. It depends. It depends on your outreach, the people you're reaching out to, and how approachable they are to that. Approaching other sales and marketing people will probably get you a better response rate than approaching counselors cold, right? It's going to depend on the people you're approaching cold as well as your approach. I still recommend the cold approach is focused on that industry company research, that you're keeping it broader than just learning about their company even, right? You want to learn about the industry. Here's several companies that you're looking at. Love to chat with you about your take on what's going on in the industry. That's going to depend on the level and interest of the person that your client's reaching out to. Do your research. Who are they? What is interesting about them? And pro tip, if they're not engaging on LinkedIn, if they're not posting or commenting or whatever, at least once every other week or so, it's very good to think that they're not going to respond to your LinkedIn message. They are not there, right? Go and look at the LinkedIn app of someone in your life who is not us, and you will see hundreds of unopened LinkedIn messages, and your client's LinkedIn message is just another number in that slot. So there's tools that you can use to find their email if you want to connect with them via email, or my co-instructor Kimberly Spate always talks about how you can pick up the phone, and if you know their name, it's fairly easy to get through the directory numbers entry of many company directories, and you can leave them a message or try to get them on the phone. But sending a LinkedIn message to someone who is not there on a regular basis, it's likely going to go into the deep dark hole of LinkedIn spam that most of us have in our inbox, and even more so for people who are not plugged in every day like you and I, right? So know your audience, know the best way to connect with them, because otherwise you're just getting more frustrated that you're sending out these messages and not hearing back. And it may have nothing to do with the message and everything to do with the platform and the way that we're trying to connect. So, all right, got a good one from Jane. Encourage people to talk to people they know. Break down the conversation. Excellent. So if you're joining us on YouTube, I'm going to pause it and capture that. It's a great little nugget there from Jane. Thank you for sharing, and give you that opportunity to connect, right? It's all about wanting that relationship with the professional connection with that person. And so when I'm working with these people who are trying to get engaged on LinkedIn, we talk about that it's not about a certain number of comments a day, a certain number of minutes, maybe just to make sure that we're focused, but we're building those customized feeds using the search. So every day they're going to a custom feed, or every other day or whatever. They're looking at the posts from the people they want to engage with, and they're engaging with the posts that speak to them, that are interesting, that cause, something come up that, hey, I want to say that. Now you're going to have to push yourself a little bit at first, because it's new and it's different and it's scary for most of these people that I talk to. But it's not about having to respond to every post or overly forcing it. If you create the right search, there should be things in there that you want to respond to. Market, industry, conversations that are going on that you want to engage in. That's what we're trying to create for people, is that community that you want to stay engaged with, hopefully, even after you get the next job, so that you don't have to start over next time, because we know that the tenure in each role is shortening and shortening. next time you'll still be in that conversation at some level, hopefully, maybe even just once a week while you're employed, so that you don't have to start over, because it is about connection and community, not just one-off conversations. So as you're working with job seekers who are saying, hey, this networking is not working, help them reframe it. We're building community, we're joining community, and we're thinking about how we form these connections. And yes, we know you need a job. So let's have conversations with people that are in the community first. Let's make sure we do that. Let's have conversations with people that already know, like, and trust you, so that they can make those referrals faster and easier. When we build from there, it moves faster. And let's use the connection approaches that people are actually going to pay attention to. So be wise to, is this person receiving whatever it is that I'm sending? Are they on this platform? Are they engaged on this platform? So I'll just drop the little chat in here again. If you're interested in getting the little $7 kit. And let's see. Oh, yeah, Anthony, I was being nice to you. I'm sure you do know a million people. Yes, find another way to connect with people. And if you're helping people use LinkedIn, this is the reason that I join and do these sessions with clients for this other coach, is because there is a way you can filter the posts by people who are active, and then get in there on a regular basis to comment on the posts that are happening, so that you're joining community, having conversation, but also building your visibility to get found. And of course, that's what we teach in the digital branding class for our clients and for us. If that's of interest to you, that starts on the 17th of September. We run it twice a year, the Certified Digital Branding Strategist course. And if you're interested in these resources, although I will say, if you're part of our Career Industry Authority group, you already have access to these. So no need to go out and do this unless you just want to drop your little support to us. But if you're in our Career Industry resource or Career Industry Authority group, you already have access to these as part of some of the sessions that we've done. So go ahead and grab them if you're not. Or if you're interested in the Career Industry Authority, let me know that as well. We are talking about job search. We're talking about this because there are a lot of people who are long-term unemployed, worried that they're going to get laid off, or coming to the end of their contract, especially if they're part of federal government. So these are tactics that we can help them with. It's things that we can help them do. And especially when we're talking about transitioning industries, people are going to need to think differently about how they ask their network for help, because their network is probably networked into where they're leaving, not where they're going. But that doesn't mean they don't know someone who is in their target companies. And they may need to do some of that warming up the conversations on LinkedIn or Facebook groups or whatever, or cold outreach. So there's a million different ways that they can network. It's us helping them figure out what really works best for them, so that they can do it in a way that they'll do, right? That's the secret sauce, is finding a way that they will actually do it, because it is scary and it is different. And once you get started, it's also an opportunity to not just sit and feel the black void of applying online. And I love that about it. Once you get going, it does start to have some momentum and, life-giving force, in addition to, yes, it is hard and it can be draining, especially for some of our clients. So thank you all for joining us today. And we'll see you next Tuesday for another Trend Tuesday Live. We're seeing if I can rope in Nancy Siegel, as we've got her series coming up here at the end of the month for the Fed career transitions. So you may see Nancy. And if not, we'll have another great job search topic. So thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon.